My favorite little place. I be here all the time now, and I'm about to be here. Let me turn the camera on myself. I'm about to be here even more. Sorry, I have the camera close because of noise, but also I don't want to look awkward. Holding my hand up super far, making it obvious that I'm recording. I'm going to record quickly in here, but I was going to say, hey y'all, first of all. But I'm going to be here even more because I got another little job, guys. It's just a nannying job. But if you've been following, you know that I've needed that. And so, yeah, they live close to here. So that's so exciting for me. I'm going to be here every day after I leave their house. I don't want the wings.
Okay, so at first I got a chicken.
Hope these the real ones too. They look like the regular ones. Period, though. Hey friends, so it's been a long day and I'm coming to you late and I'm still gonna get this video up today because period, meaning it's gonna be not super long of a video, but it's gonna be one that's packed with some real ish. So yeah, there's that. You guys saw me grocery shopping and that's pretty much it because I had to work today. I was at work all day and I can't film while I'm at work. So there's that, but I did go to the gym this morning. I hope you're proud of me. I hope you went to the gym too. If you know that's one of your goals. I know a lot of people got those goals. Hence the title of this video. If you're watching this right now, I'm about to come for you. Okay? I don't know. I was just thinking through my plans, for the video and I jotted this stuff down. So also, you already know, I be jotting down my thoughts to make sure I give it to y'all the way it's supposed to be given. So I'm looking up. If I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I kind of feel like, I'm in a good place to speak about this right now because I've been being a little consistent or whatever. I've been on angel time, as I like to call it, because I don't want to say demon time, but in other words, I've been on demon time, meaning I've been consistent. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. I've been having the D word. I see your dirty mind. Get your mind out of the gutter. We're talking about discipline, folks. I've weaved in and out of seasons, though, to be for real now. I've weaved in and out of seasons of being more or less disciplined. And I feel like, a lot of people have. I know a lot of people, just can't feel like they can't get it together, right? Just like, why can't I, if only I can, be disciplined with eating, I can unbig my back. If only I could be disciplined with not spending money in online shopping or on TikTok shop and I could, start my business, buy my house, whatever it is. Child, we all are struggling mostly with, this thing called discipline, right? Having the discipline to do the right things that we know we should do to reach our goals or to not do the things that we know will hinder us. The first thing is that I feel like it's easier when you're passionate about it. Given, yes, we have to discipline ourselves to do hard things that we might not like, right? Like, I don't know, working out for a lot of people just might not be fun. It varies. But an example that I used was like, for me, eating healthy versus reading. And in that example, like reading is something that to this day, I still want to try and discipline myself to do. But unlike eating healthy, or for some people might be like practicing their instrument, right? That's something that it might not be fun in the moment, but it's something that you're passionate about ultimately. If it's not the thing itself, right? Like if you're not passionate about running, maybe you're passionate about where it's going to take you, right? Maybe you're not passionate about running, but maybe you're passionate about, the shape that you want to be in. Maybe you're not passionate about, I don't know, practicing your instrument. That's one of the only examples that's coming to my mind. But you're passionate about that album that you want to put out and the vision that you have. You're not passionate about, doing paperwork for your business, but you're passionate about making your business successful. All of that. you should try to find the value in these things, right? And I know people say this all the time, but legit, like finding your why. And some things ain't gonna have a why, right? Sometimes you got to do the paperwork because you got to do the paperwork, but ultimately your why is there, right? It's just not gonna be on the surface because that thing, again, itself ain't gonna be fun. But your why are you doing this? Because it's going to lead to said thing that will be rewarding. But on the flip side of that, there's something like reading, which I recognize. I think that like inherently it's kind of not that fun for me. I want to read for knowledge, but sitting down with the book, I just never been able to I don't just get a kick out of that itself. And so the payout, it's much harder for me to connect with that, because doing the thing itself is just something that I'm much less passionate about. And we only have so much time. So things that I am more passionate about, things that I more kind of closely hold to the payout of, you know what I'm saying, that I think about that I want really badly. Taking care of my body, wanting to eat, things that aren't poison, all of those things are passions of mine that I really can see the vision of every day of what that's doing for my body. Reading, it's harder for me to keep that, in mind. Like I'm doing this for knowledge. It's harder. It's much harder. A follow-up question is, how can you finesse that, right? Because obviously the things in this life that we need to do or that are good for us to do probably won't be something that we're passionate about all the time, right? But how can you finesse that? I would say find a version of that thing if you can. So this works with some things, not everything. But for example, working out, right? Find a version of workouts that you really enjoy. Maybe it's dance. Maybe it's workouts that involve being in nature, right? Maybe it's not high intensity workouts at all. Maybe you can start to enjoy taking walks or getting a lot of steps in while listening to music or a podcast. Now you're tying it to different things, making it less about the thing itself, kind of like tricking yourself. Like now you can say, oh, I have to go, or now versus saying, oh, I have to go work out. You be like, I'm about to go dance because I like to dance. Or if you like being in nature, now you can say, I'm about to kind of get steps in or get this jog in while I'm taking in my nature. Or you can focus on that thing that you're kind of tying or associating with the thing that is much harder for you. Or in the last example, like if you listen to podcasts all the time, if you have to listen to a book, if you do listen to books already, you know what I'm saying? Just go for a walk while you do it. The time will go by quicker than you realize if you're focused in on, what you're listening to. And in that way, you're putting much less of the mental focus, if you see what I'm saying. Like you're thinking less about it. It's kind of like, when something is hard, you don't want to think about it too much, because it makes it so much more dreadful. You're thinking about the very thing, ruminating over the very thing that you don't want to do. But if you can, kind of like when you're distracting a kid with the ball when they're getting a shot, and the mental power of being able to focus in on the things that feel more valuable, you know what I'm saying? Focus in on the thing that you enjoy will allow you to get more things done if you can multitask. Editing Kai here just wants to add on that, remember, it's really important to know that the people who are getting a lot of things done aren't the people who just have perfect time management and who set in, individual time each day for each thing they need to do. No, it's the people who can learn how to multitask, who learn how to prioritize things, who learn how to kind of do what I was just saying. Maybe they get their steps in while they podcast, they clean, and do something else at the same time. So that's a really important thing to remember. For me, I wrote down an example because if you're like me with reading, right, to just kind of keep the analogy going, maybe I could find a book that I'm most interested in, and that's small, right? So that way I can finish it sooner and sooner gain that reward from my commitment, right? Because that's a big part of it too, is feeling the payout of your discipline helps to feed your ability to do it, right? To apply yourself to doing hard things, getting that delayed gratification. It's also creating the lowest barrier to entry because this is something that I'm super interested in. There's topics I might want to know about, but that aren't the thing that I'm most interested in. And that'll help me build the habit. I can build that muscle right up into reading the things that are kind of a bit of a harder read, you know what I'm saying? But doing an easier read on something that I'm super interested in still is helping me to build that discipline muscle. I want to get this video up for y'all before it gets too late. So let's pause for the consistency. If you've been following me, I've struggled with that. And so I'm talking about it not because I'm trying to brag or just plug myself, but this is a really big win for me. And it's only day 4 of, my challenge of posting every day, once a day on YouTube for 30 days. But I'm really proud of myself. So the next thing I wanted to share is what the Bible has to say about this because, woo child, it is a lot. It is a lot and it will convict you real quick because it convicted me. I'm mainly going to be reading out of Proverbs so that you guys know. The first one is out of Proverbs 12, verse 24. The hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy man will be put to forced labor. Proverbs 13:4. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. Proverbs 10:4, verse 4. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And then there's a few more that really stand out. Those talk a lot about wealth, but just in general, Ecclesiastes verses 9:10 just speaks to work. It says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. And Colossians 3:23 is another popular one. It says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 13 says, do not love sleep or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. This last verse I'm about to read is a good one. It speaks directly to all of you people who have lots of desires and lots of plans. AKA, I'm also speaking to myself. Because trust me, this is totally me, but it speaks to those people who make plans and don't really put the work in, right? We have dreams. We say we want to do this, say we want to do that, but we don't take the steps necessary. This is a little bit different, but it still speaks to this situation. And it is Proverbs 19, verse 2. It says, desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet? Oh, that's just a repetition. Well, so anyway, I pulled my laptop out as you saw. But yeah, y'all can see at the end of the day, let me sit y'all back up. Yeah, I got a better angle. At the end of the day, what I glean from all of this is just like, of course, there are tools and tactics and strategies that will help you to be disciplined. But I feel like, those verses, and there are some other ones too. I just looked those up. I didn't go through and, seek out all the verses myself. But those are great ones. I knew there were some great ones in Proverbs and all of that. But they emphasize the fact that, like, God calls us to work, A. B, you're not going to get anything done with just your desire. We all got desires. We all got dreams. Not only that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might not be, I feel like, where you're at. You might not be where you want to be at in life, right? Given, if you discipline yourself now, if you teach yourself how to do hard things now, that will prove to be a great skill. If you can't do certain things right now, like with what you've been given, if you can't discipline yourself to pay your bills on time, if you can't, given if you have it, I know everybody's in different situations. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the laziness, the negligence, the things that we can do. If you can't discipline yourself to stop spending money on Starbucks, if you can't discipline yourself to stop online shopping, how on earth do you think you're going to manage a house? How on earth do you think you're going to manage a business? How on earth do you think you're going to just do all these different things? And I'm saying this out of love, but like as a reality check for a lot of us, especially I feel like I see so much consumerism, in our culture, and like so many things that we normalize, but then I see so much of us struggling, and I'm just like, we make excuses for things, you know what I'm saying? Again, actually, I can't say this enough. Disclaimer, I'm not talking about people who don't have it. I'm not talking about if you're struggling in the sense of, you can't make ends meet right now. I've been there. Y'all know I have. I'm looking for work. I'm still kind of struggling to get out of certain situations. I'm simply talking about the things that are within your control, that, relate to goals that you say you have, but that you don't discipline yourself to do, right? You say you want to have more time in your day to pray, but you don't make an effort to cut down your time on TikTok or Instagram or whatever the heck else. Like, guys, I feel like this needs to be said, and this is just a loving reminder because not a lot of people are saying it. Sometimes we need somebody to give us a kick in the butt. And again, like the Bible talks about it often. You have the Proverbs 31, right? Like, she does not eat the bread of idleness. Hello. And this can be, oftentimes people just refer to that verse as it relates to women, but like, guys, the same teaching is true for you. Like, essentially, like, there's themes in the Bible that talk about this, but like, work heartily unto the Lord, right? Like, we shouldn't be lazy. We shouldn't sleep. We shouldn't slumber. Not eating the bread of idleness doesn't mean that she didn't rest. It means that she took what she did seriously and that she worked. She wasn't lazy. Yeah, I was just kind of getting at how, we might have all these strategies and tricks and tips, no matter how many alarms you set or tricks you plan yourself to make you do what you need to do. At the end of the day, what it's going to come down to, because I even think, we might set ourselves up for something, right? For example, to discipline myself, y'all know how iPhone has the time limits on certain apps, right? I used to do that until I started clicking ignore. And you see how, so like at the end of the day, we set ourselves up to do certain things, and it's worth like trying, not saying that. What I'm saying is, even with that, you still gonna need the discipline to listen to the alarm, to listen to the pop-up on your phone that says it's time to get off Instagram, right? If we don't have that internal, like, okay, I have to be on a mission to do what I said I was gonna do, to do what I know is right and best for me, And that's going to feel good later. Even if my flesh, even if I'm being ignorant to what I really want right now or being lazy, whatever it is, all the reasons why we do things, eat bad food and scroll on TikTok all day, all the reasons why we do things that we know aren't good for us, that we regret later. We're going to have to, at the end of the day, just do it. Have the discipline. Build that muscle. And remember that none of that stuff is likely to help you stay disciplined all the time, which is why building up that muscle is so important, because bad days will come, right? And I've seen this topic floating around on social media, which is good, but like motivation and discipline are two completely different things. We, at the end of the day, have to learn that we're not always going to be motivated. And so we can't rely on how good we feel. We can't rely on that cute outfit that we bought. Because when that's dirty, or when that runs out, like what's going to force you, or when you have a bad day, like those good surface level feelings kind of just don't last, right? But at the end of the day, there's still things that we just need to do, right? We know that we need to be consistent with X, Y, and Z. The biggest thing is building that skill of being able to tell yourself that, regardless of how you're feeling, right? Like if you can do this, you're winning. If you can start to build the muscle of telling yourself, hey, I know I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. When those thoughts pop in your head, when you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like it. Instead of leaning into that, if you can take your thoughts captive and build that skill of redirecting that and say, but nah, I need to do this. Nah, we're going to do it. Not sitting there, not ruminating over how much you don't feel like it, but you're going to do it. And once you can start doing that, you got yourself some discipline and you're going to start seeing results. You really got to take your thoughts captive. And I know it's hard, right? Some days it's harder than others. And we all know grace is a thing. I had to give myself grace the other day, kind of like I told you guys. I've been in the gym. We said we was going to do 3 days a week, me and my husband. Thus far, I've been in the gym 4 to 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? And so there are days when you give yourself grace, but you have to be real about knowing when you're cheating yourself or making excuses versus when you could actually use a rest day or give yourself some grace. When you've been consistent, you're like, you know what? I've been disciplining myself. I'm actually going to take a rest day today. Whatever. But you know the difference. Stop even ruminating on how much you don't feel like doing something and tell yourself it doesn't matter. I need to do this anyway because my future self will be glad. And other than just me kind of not feeling like it, like there's, chances are there's nothing wrong with me right now. There's no reason why I can't do it. I'm just going to keep letting my mindset, my laziness, or how I feel. Feelings are fickle. If I keep letting my feelings get in the way of this, I'm going to be in the same place that I was last year when I said I wanted this thing. That's literally the definition of discipline, if I could put it that way. Is it really discipline if you're only doing that thing when your morning routine went well? Is it really discipline if you're only doing that thing when you're in a good mood and everything is going right? Consider, I don't feel like it, a negative thought, just like you would limiting thoughts and self-doubt and other negative things. Once you do that, again, it'll get easier to start kind of ignoring that, that fleshly, lazy desire. Shove that out the forefront of your brain and just do it, like Nike say. It makes me think about how many things that Jesus probably ain't feel like doing, but he did it anyway. Don't even get me started. That's a whole conversation for another day. I hope that you feel motivated, but also challenged to do something different, right? Again, it's not discipline if you don't just do the hard thing. It's not going to be easy. And no matter how many gimmicks you set up, you can always get past the gimmicks if you really don't have the discipline to do the thing. There are some things you can do to make it easier, of course. Again, I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, most times it's going to be hard a lot of the times. And you just got to learn how to do the hard thing. What is true is that it gets easier, right? It's a muscle. So just like the thing about building that muscle, like using that analogy, discipline as a muscle, the thing about it is just like muscles, the more you work it out, the easier it gets to lift that weight, right? And so you'll notice that the more you discipline yourself to go to the gym, the easier it is to get up, right? You get into a routine, the easier it is to kind of say no to, like, whether you feel like it or not. And sometimes we leave in and out of seasons, right? Things can trigger us and then we get super unmotivated. We fall off and then we have to rediscipline ourselves over and over again. And that's okay. But the biggest thing is you need to start. You need to start, saying no to yourself on those things aren't good. Start saying no to opening up TikTok first thing in the morning. Start saying no to getting Starbucks every day. Start saying no to spending online shopping and, buying things you don't need. Start saying no to eating Popeyes and, something of the like, once a week. And then, my friends, we'll be in a good place. So I know I just came for you and all of that, but like I asked in the last video, how are you doing today? I just want to ask. I don't get a lot of comments on my videos, but, I get a few views here and there. And you never know what effect it's having. And ultimately, this is what I want to put out there anyway. So even if no one responds, I want to create a space. Like I always say, that's a safe space. And so if I ask, that opens up the door. How are you doing? How have things been going? Whether that's goals, how's your day? Good, bad, share. Let's support each other. If it's bad, we can all encourage you. If it's good, you can be encouraging to someone else. Hope this message finds you right. And I'm going to go ahead and upload this. And yeah, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow.